So the question is here, what is the learning process?
Learning process is something that we use to get out of what we call the pit when we're stuck.
Yep.
So first it was called the inquiry model, and we only used it for breakthrough.
Yeah.
And then we...
When you say breakthrough, what does breakthrough mean?
Keeps going. Breakthrough is one of our vision principles, and it's also one of our subjects.
Yeah.
We use 20% of our week on a Friday morning and a Thursday afternoon to breakthrough. That's where we can follow our passions and strengths.
Right. Okay. Very good.
And so, and then we started using it when we were writing an exposition, and we thought, that shouldn't be called the inquiry model, it's a learning process.
Good. Okay.
Plus,
So can you continue?
And so with the learning process, there's a different attitude to being stuck here. If you're stuck, it's an okay thing. You're not failing. So when we're stuck, we're in something called a pit. Sometimes it can be a bit, golly, you might want to give up. But we have some tools which gives us clarity to get out of the pit.
Yeah.
And the learning process is the main tool that we use. So the learning process is divided up into stages, or the rocks. So there's building knowledge, making meaning, and applying understanding. So say I was stuck in my algebra, and in my algebra I would maybe I would go I'd go to a teaching clinic, which is being offered, or I could go to another learner who's teaching ELO, which is an extra learning opportunity.
Okay.
Other learners go to teach learners.
Yeah.
So after I've built my knowledge and I've got a bit of knowledge there, I've got to move on to making meaning. I've got to sort, justify, clarify.
So are those strategies you would use to go from going from knowledge to understanding?
Yeah.
And so that's when you've built your knowledge, and then it's not just sorting it. There are the deeper verbs in it that we don't use so much, like negotiate, compare and contrast, things like that. So it's using all of those until you get the information that you need.
Synthesize, all in the same group.
So that's when you're getting your understanding. And then the next step is applying it. So that's when you use that to, and it confirms that learning, it sets it in stone. Right,
okay. So you've now got an understanding.
Justify, create, decide, solve, things like that.
And when you've done that, I said about ELOs, once you've gone through the whole process of thinking, and then you are applying your understanding, you can apply it by teaching other learners, which is going to consolidate that learning in your brain while building other people's knowledge as well.
Right. So you've gone from having some knowledge and you've now built a concept about, or an idea about what you're...
And then you've done something with that.
Okay, so you've done something with that. So when you do something with that, what happens to it then?
Then that's a breakthrough.
That's your breakthrough. Okay, so that something might be innovative or ingenious or
there are two
creative.
There are two kind of types of breakthrough. There's one with set time of breakthrough, where we have a specific one, and then there's the sense of breakthrough that you get.
Okay,
when
describe the sense of breakthrough.
Twice you're probably best for that.
Go on, go for it.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It's a bit like, woohoo, I'm at the pit, and
Yeah.
moving on to the next pit, and excited to get in a new one, and I want to have that feeling again.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
The
stuck.
feeling of accomplishment.
So is that a aha moment, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was stuck in the pit for 3 days once, and after coming out of it, I was very, very excited.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Another thing about the learning process is that it doesn't have to be step by step.
Yeah.
You know, build the knowledge, make the meaning, apply your understanding.
Yeah.
If, for example, you're writing a biography on someone, you gather all this information about that person, and then you think, oh yeah, I've got all the information I think I need. I'm going to go sort through that and see what things are relevant to that.
Yeah.
And then you've done that, but then before you can go on to apply understanding, you think, hold on, I don't know enough about the structure of a biography. And you go back to building knowledge.
Okay.
So it's an unpredictable cycle, not a sequential process.
Yeah. So it's really, how do you know sometimes when you need to go back and get some new knowledge? What prompts you to do that?
I think we know when we're like we can't move on. There's that mental block when I'm stuck on this certain bit.
Yeah.
And then you know that you've got to go build your knowledge again on that certain part of your whole learning process.
Right.
So you can jump back, forward, back, and you could do it for 100.
Does it? I was going to say, does it ever end?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're always on. I quite like to picture it as you're on a road, and there's always a bunch of pits. And if you're on a smooth road, then you're not learning.
You're not learning. Yeah, because it's not challenging enough, or you haven't asked the right question, or haven't been prompted.
And then when you're in the pit, the learning process is kind of like your pickaxe or your ladder or your tools to get out.
And another thing that at the beginning of the learning process, it's kind of like something that you keep in mind all the way through.
Yeah.
It's our 7 learning qualities.
Okay, so what are the learning qualities? The learner qualities.
One, as you were saying, of how we know when we need more is self-aware.
Yeah.
Not just in our learning, but whom we work with, how we work best, self-management, things like that.
Yeah.
Being determined, connecting. So that's
How do you learn to be determined?
you can't learn to be determined. You do it through self-talk is one of the big things as well.
So that's one of the learning tools, isn't it?
Because
To
when
be
you
determined.
start off, sometimes you think like giving up and things like that, but when you talk to yourself, you say, I'm going to push through this.
Knowing how much of a stretch you can get. So
Yeah.
at first, you might only think, I'm not so good at being determined. I'm just going to set for a medium stretch.
Yeah.
So that I need to be relatively determined to get that. And then next time you're in a pit, you'll go on an even bigger one and go, I've learnt to be a bit more determined. I can handle a long time in the pit.
Okay.
Like Tobias's 3-day journey.
Yeah. So is a pit a bad thing?
No.
We treat it as, once you got out of that breakthrough thing, that is a hallelujah moment. But then when you get in the pit, it's another, I'm going to learn this,
Yeah.
I don't know it now, but I know that I'm going to get through
You
it.
can't get out of the pit unless you go in the pit, and that's something that wasn't so much taught at other schools. Is you need to get the answer right, and that's considered good. And if you're stuck and you don't know it,
that's bad.
Yeah,
which is not right, is it?
No,
Because that's the fascination
That's how
of
you
learning,
learn,
isn't it?
yeah.
Absolutely.